You ever notice how one moment can rewrite the whole relationship? Not slowly, not over months of distance or growing silences. Just one night, one argument, one version of her you've never been introduced to. And it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a warning label. It doesn't knock. It just arrives. Mid-sentence, mid-laugh, mid everything you thought you understood about her, about you, about the two of you together. And you're standing there, looking at her face, a face you've memorized, a face you've searched for comfort in at the end of long days, a face that used to be the first thing you wanted to see in the morning. And something behind the eyes is different, and you can't name it, you just feel it. The way you feel weather before it turns, before the sky changes color, before everything goes still and the air holds its breath. That kind of different. And in that moment, right there, everything starts moving in slow motion. Because some part of you already knows. Some quiet, honest part of you that you've been ignoring for weeks, maybe months, already knows. This isn't new. This has been building. And you knew, you just chose not to look at it directly. Because looking at it directly meant asking questions you weren't ready to answer. It meant disrupting something that felt good on the surface. It meant admitting that the feeling you'd been calling peace was actually just the absence of honesty. And sometimes, silence feels like peace, when it's really just both of you agreeing not to go there. But you went there that night, or she did, and now you can't come back from it. Because here's what nobody tells you about relationships. The cracks don't appear overnight. They just become visible overnight. All those small moments, the ones you filed under, she's just tired, or she's just stressed, or it's nothing, we're fine. They were never nothing. They were receipts. Every single one. Filed away somewhere you couldn't see. Filed away in her. Filed away in the body of the relationship itself. And you didn't know because she let you not know. And maybe she didn't even know fully either. Maybe she was just surviving each day the same way you were. Patching things up. Moving forward, hoping that forward was the same direction as better. But it wasn't. It was just further. Further from the real conversation. Further from the moment where you both stopped performing and just stood there, honest, in whatever that was. She handed you a version of herself that fit neatly inside the relationship you both wanted to believe in. And you accepted it. Not because you were stupid, not because you were blind, but because love does that. Love makes you want to believe the easy version. Love makes you round the edges of what you see because the sharp version is too hard to hold without bleeding. So you smooth things over. You explain things away. You said, she's just having a bad day, enough times that it became a reflex. And she let you, and you let her. And both of you kept choosing comfort over clarity until one night the clarity showed up anyway, and it wasn't interested in being comfortable anymore. And then one night, maybe it's a small thing that starts it. It's always a small thing. Maybe you said something offhand. Maybe you forgot something that mattered to her more than you realized. Maybe you didn't say the right thing at the right time and she'd been waiting for you to say it without telling you she was waiting. And it's not even about the thing. You figure that out fast. Because the way it comes out of her doesn't sound like a woman reacting. It sounds like a woman releasing. And that's a different energy entirely. There's a precision to it, a specificity that doesn't come from the moment. It comes from somewhere older, somewhere deeper. She knows exactly which words to use. She knows exactly where you're soft. She knows exactly how much pressure it takes to make you question yourself. And she applies it. Not wildly, not recklessly, accurately. And you're standing there, absorbing it. And somewhere underneath the defensiveness and the shock and the hurt, a small voice in you says, "She's been thinking about this. This didn't come from tonight. This came from months ago. This came from all the times you thought it was fine because she said it was fine. And now you don't know what fine ever meant. You don't know if any of the fine was real, or if fine was just the word she used when she didn't think you could handle the real answer. And that thought right there, opens a door in your chest, and something cold walks through it. She says it's her period. She says it's hormones. She says she didn't mean it like that. And part of you wants to take it. Part of you wants to hand it back to biology because that's cleaner. That's something you can forgive without it costing you anything. If it's hormones, it's temporary. It's chemical. It's not really her. You can put it in a box, label it, set it on a shelf, move on. But then you replay it, and you can't stop replaying it. Because you notice the structure of what she said. You notice how organized it was. You notice how she didn't stumble, didn't reach for words. They were already there, fully formed, waiting at the surface, like they'd made the trip from her chest to her mouth so many times in her head that when they finally came out for real, they came out clean. And that's the thing about honesty. Real honesty doesn't sound like an accident. It sounds stored. It sounds like something that's been carried for a long time and was finally put down. Not because she planned to say it, but because she's thought it enough times that it's worn a groove in her. And you heard the groove, and now you can't unhear it. And that's the part that changes things. Not the words themselves, but the weight behind them. The fact that they existed before she said them. The fact that she's been living with them and you had no idea. The fact that you were in the same relationship, and apparently in two very different experiences of it. So you sit there, long after the argument is over, long after the room has gone quiet, and she's on her side of the bed with her back to you. Or maybe she's not even in the bed yet. Maybe she's in the bathroom or the living room, giving you both space. And you're just lying there in the dark, staring at the ceiling. And you start going back. You go all the way back. You go back to the beginning. You go back to when it was easy. And everything was new, and you were both trying to impress each other. And the trying felt exciting instead of exhausting. When she laughed at everything. When you felt like the funniest, most interesting person in the room, just because she was looking at you that way. And you wonder when that shifted. Not when it stopped, because it didn't stop. She still laughs. She still looks at you. But somewhere along the way, something got added to the looking. Some layer of weight. Some accumulation of all the things unsaid. And you didn't notice it happening. You just woke up one day inside a relationship that had quietly become more complicated than the one you signed up for. And you didn't know when it happened, because it happened slowly and then all at once. The way debt does, the way distance does, the way anything does when you don't deal with it at the source. You go back to the quiet nights, the ones where everything felt easy, where you thought, this is it. This is the version of life I want. Her head on your chest, the TV on low, neither of you really watching it, just existing in the same space like it was the easiest thing in the world. And those still felt real. You're not ready to say they weren't, but they feel different now. Like a photograph that still shows the same image, but the context around it has changed, so the image means something different than it used to. You go back to every time she was quiet in a way that didn't feel like peace. Every dinner where she was there but slightly away. Every time you asked if she was okay and she said yes too quickly. Every night where she went to sleep before you and you stayed up with your phone, wondering if you'd done something but couldn't figure out what, so you told yourself it was nothing. It wasn't nothing. You knew that. You You just needed it to be nothing, so you kept telling yourself it was until you believed it. And that's not a character flaw. That's not weakness. That's just what it looks like when someone loves something and is scared of what happens if they look at it too directly. You go back to the "I'm fine." God, the "I'm fine." How many times did she say it? How many times did you accept it? Not because you didn't care, not because you weren't paying attention, but because the alternative was a conversation neither of you knew how to have without it turning into something bigger than you were ready for. So "I'm fine" became the bridge you both walked across to get to the next day. And the next day came, and the next one after that. And eventually, so many next days had come and gone that it felt like things were just good. Like you'd gotten through something. Like you were on the other side of whatever the tension was. But you were never on the other side. You were just further in. Further into the version of the relationship that looked fine from the outside. That looked fine in photos. That looked fine to your friends. That looked fine to her friends. But underneath all of it, underneath the routine and the familiarity and the comfort, there was a conversation that had never been had. And it grew. And it waited. And eventually, it stopped waiting. And now the bill has come, and it's all due at once. And you're standing there doing the math, and the numbers don't add up to the relationship you thought you had. And that's what breaks something in you. Not the argument, not the words she used, not even the fact that she hurt you. It's the revision. It's realizing that the story you've been telling yourself about this relationship might need to be rewritten from the beginning. And you don't know how much of it survives the edit. You don't know which parts were real and which parts were both of you just being very committed to a version of things that felt easier than the truth. Because now there are two versions of her in your head, and they live side by side, and they don't cancel each other out. And that's the hardest part, because it would be easier if they canceled each other out. It would be easier if you could look at the one from that night and say, that's not her. That's not who she is. That's not the person I chose. But you can't say that, because the one from that night knew things. She knew the specific things to say. She knew the specific places to press. She knew you in a way that only comes from time and closeness and attention. That wasn't a stranger. That was someone who knew you well enough to know exactly how to reach you. And that means both versions came from the same place. Both versions are her. There's the one who holds your hand, soft-voiced, present. The one who remembers the things you mentioned once and brings them up months later. The one who checks on you when you're quiet. The one who knows your order without asking. The one who makes ordinary Tuesday evenings feel like something worth having. And then there's the one from that night. Sharp, precise. The one who looked at you like she'd been waiting for permission to finally stop protecting you from what she actually thinks. And you're trying to reconcile them. You're laying them side by side in your head and asking which one is real. And the terrifying answer, the one that keeps waking you up at 3 a.m., is that they both are. She is both of those women. And maybe that's not betrayal. Maybe that's just human. Maybe everyone contains a version of themselves that only surfaces under pressure. A version that knows things and feels things that the everyday version keeps managed. But knowing that doesn't make it easier to hold, because now you feel it every time she reaches for your hand. A small hesitation, a half second where you wonder which one is touching you right now. And that half second used to not exist, and you miss that. You miss reaching back without thinking. You miss the version of you that didn't have to think about it. And here's what you can't bring yourself to say out loud. Not to her, not to your boys, not even fully to yourself yet. Was I in love with the real her, or was I in love with the version she decided I could handle? Because if it's the second one, then everything I fell for was edited. Everything I gave myself to was curated. Every moment I thought was intimacy was actually just the distance she was comfortable with. And that doesn't make her evil. That doesn't even make her wrong. People protect the things they want to keep. People show you the version of themselves they think you'll stay for. And sometimes they do it consciously, and sometimes they do it without even realizing. Because we're all walking around with these curated versions of ourselves that we've built from years of learning which parts of us people accept and which parts they don't. But it makes you feel like you were kept at a distance, even while you thought you were close. And that's a particular kind of loneliness. The kind that's worse than being alone because you didn't know you were lonely. You thought you were held. You thought you were known. And now you're not sure if the knowing was real, or if you were just allowed to know the parts that were safe to share. And that question sits in you, heavy, specific, refusing to leave. And then you do the thing that hurts the most. You start turning it on yourself. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You don't just sit in the comfort of being wronged. You poke at it. You turn it over. You look at your own hands and ask what you built and what you broke. You ask, did I make it hard for her to be honest? Was I the kind of man she could come to? Was I the kind of man who made it safe to be fully known? Or was I the kind of man she had to manage? The kind whose moods set the temperature of the room? The kind who didn't always respond well when things got heavy? The kind who needed her to be okay so that you could be okay? And somewhere she learned that and started protecting you from her not okay so that you wouldn't have to feel it. Did you teach her to do that? Not on purpose. Not in a moment you can point to and say, there, that was it. But gradually, through 100 small moments where your discomfort with her pain made it easier for her to just say, I'm fine, than to sit in the real answer with you. And you don't know if that's true, but you can't say it's definitely not true either. And that ambiguity is its own kind of weight. Because you want to be the man who makes it safe. You want to be the man she can fall apart in front of without worrying about what it does to you. You want to be the man who can hold the heavy things without needing them to be lighter. And you're not sure you were. And you're not sure you weren't. And sitting with both possibilities at once is one of the loneliest feelings you've ever sat with. And then the next morning comes, and you both have to exist in the same space again. And there's this thing that happens the morning after. This strange, quiet performance, where you're both moving around each other carefully, saying normal things in normal voices, making coffee, looking at phones, acting like the night before was something that happened to other people. And you watch her from across the kitchen, and you look for a sign that she feels what you feel, a sign that it's sitting on her chest the way it's sitting on yours, a sign that she knows the weight of what was said and isn't just waiting for you to get over it. And sometimes you see it, a pause, a look that goes a second longer than it needs to, a gentleness in the way she hands you something that feels like an apology she doesn't know how to say out loud yet. And sometimes you don't see it, and that's worse. Because when you don't see it, you start to wonder if it's heavier for you than it is for her. If you're carrying something together that she thinks she already put down. And you can't ask, not yet. Because asking right now would just open it again, and neither of you are ready for that yet. So you move through the morning carefully, like people walking through a room in the dark, aware of each other, trying not to knock anything else over. And the days after that are strange, because on the surface, things look normal. The routines are the same, the life is the same, but you're different. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way anyone else would notice, just in the small, internal ways. The way you listen to her now, more carefully, trying to hear what's underneath the words, trying to figure out if fine really means fine, or if fine has gone back to meaning something else. The way you watch her face when she doesn't know you're watching, looking for the real version, looking for the one that surfaces when she's not managing herself. And you feel like a detective in your own relationship. And you hate that. You hate that intimacy now has this layer of analysis over it. That love now comes with this quiet, constant questioning. You just want to be in it again, without the noise, without the self-consciousness, without the half second before you reach back. But you don't know how to get back there yet. And maybe you can't get back there. Maybe back there is gone. Maybe what's ahead is something different. Not worse necessarily, but different. More honest, more complicated, more real in a way that real sometimes hurts. Because here's the thing about being a man in moments like this. Nobody gives you a script. Nobody sits you down and says, here's how you hold this. Here's what to do with the feeling that lives in your chest and doesn't have a name yet. Here's how you stay soft enough to keep loving her without losing the part of yourself that knows what it felt like. You're just supposed to figure it out. Be strong about it. Process it quietly. Move on. Don't overthink it. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. But you are thinking about it. You're thinking about it constantly. In the shower, in the car, in the middle of conversations about completely different things. And not because you're weak, and not because you can't handle it, but because you actually care. And caring means it lands. And landing means it lives in you for a while. And living in you means it takes up space. And taking up space means it changes things from the inside. And nobody told you it was okay for it to do all of that. Nobody told you that sitting with something difficult isn't the same as being consumed by it. Nobody told you that real strength isn't getting over it fast. Real strength is letting yourself feel the full weight of it, so that when you do move, you move from an honest place. Not from avoidance, not from suppression, not from the version of okay that's really just a quieter version of not okay. From the real place, where you actually processed it, where you actually looked at it, where you actually let it be as heavy as it needed to be before you decided what to do with it. And so you sit with it. You sit with both versions of her, the soft one and the sharp one, and you stop trying to choose between them. You sit with both versions of yourself, the man who thinks he got it right and the man who's not so sure, and you stop trying to resolve it quickly. You sit with the relationship, not the version you thought you had, not the version you're afraid it is, but the actual thing, whatever it is. The whole messy, complicated, still worth something thing. And in the sitting, something starts to shift. Not an answer, not a resolution, not the moment everything suddenly makes sense, but a small, quiet honesty starts to surface. The kind that admits you were carrying things too. That you've had versions of yourself stored in the dark as well. That you've said, I'm fine, in ways that weren't fine. That you've handed her an edited version of yourself on the hard days too. That you both have been doing the same thing, from different directions, with different specific weights, but the same essential thing. Protecting each other from the full truth of your inner lives. Because you both wanted the relationship enough to be careful with it. And somewhere that carefulness became distance without either of you planning for that to happen. And when you see it that way, something softens. Not completely. Not in a way that makes the argument okay. Not in a way that means it doesn't have to be addressed, but enough. Enough to stop making her the villain in the story. Enough to stop making yourself the victim. Enough to sit in the more complicated truth of it, which is that two people who love each other can still do damage when they've been storing things for too long. And maybe the real question isn't which version of her is true. The real question is, can you love someone, including the parts they kept from you? Can you hold all of them? Not just the version you fell for. Not just the version that felt safe. But the full, complicated, sometimes difficult, sometimes sharp, sometimes wrong, but always human version of her. All of it. Even the parts that scared you. Even the parts that felt like a stranger. Even the parts you're still trying to understand. And can she do the same for you? Can she love the man who smoothed things over? The man who accepted I'm fine too easily sometimes? The man who maybe made it a little bit safer to edit herself around? Can she love that man and also ask him to be different? And can you receive that without your defenses going up? Without making her wrong for seeing it? Because that's what it would take now. Not forgiveness in the way people make forgiveness sound. Like a switch you flip. Like a decision you make once and then it's done. But forgiveness as a practice. As something you do every day. As choosing to stay in the discomfort of still not having all the answers, while also choosing to stay. Choosing to keep learning someone even after you realize you didn't know them as well as you thought. Choosing to let the relationship evolve past the version you originally fell in love with, into whatever more honest version is trying to emerge. And that choice is terrifying, because it means giving up the comfort of certainty. It means accepting that love isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a thing you keep choosing, every day. Even when it's complicated, especially when it's complicated. It means being willing to be known more fully yourself, which means being willing to be wrong more openly, which means letting her see the parts of you that aren't managed, the parts that are tired, the parts that are scared, the parts that don't always know what to do with her pain. And that's the vulnerability underneath the vulnerability. Because it's easier to be hurt and justified. It's harder to be hurt and accountable at the same time. It's easier to sit in what she said. It's harder to sit in what you might have silently communicated over months that made what she said feel like the only option she had. And harder is the direction growth actually lives. Not comfortable. Not easy. Not the version of the relationship that fits neatly into a description, but honest and growing. And real enough to survive a night like that and come out on the other side of it, change for the better. And it's still loud in your chest, even now, even after all the thinking and all the sitting and all the slow, quiet work of trying to understand it. It still sits there, heavy, present, specific. And maybe it's supposed to. Maybe that weight isn't a problem to be solved. Maybe that weight is just what it feels like to love someone for real. Not the highlight reel version, not the version that fits on a timeline or a caption, but the actual thing, with all of its difficulty and all of its beauty, existing in the same space at the same time. Maybe the fact that it still sits in your chest is the proof that what you have is worth taking seriously, is worth the hard conversation you haven't had yet, is worth the discomfort of being more honest than you have been, is worth staying up past the point where it would have been easier to just close your eyes. Because the things that are easy to walk away from are the things that were never really holding you. And this is holding you, even when it hurts. Even when it's confusing, even when you feel like a stranger in your own relationship and don't know how to find your way back. This is still holding you, and that means something. So yeah, One moment can rewrite the whole relationship, but only if you let the rewrite stop there. Maybe the braver thing, the harder thing, the thing that nobody talks about because it doesn't have a clean ending you can wrap up in a line, is to keep writing. Past the argument, past the night that changed things, past the version of her that scared you and the version of yourself you're still making sense of. Past the not knowing and the replaying and the exhaustion of the after. Past all of it. Into something more honest than what you had before. Something that doesn't need to be fine all the time, because it's real enough to survive not being fine. Something that doesn't need both of you to perform, because it's safe enough for both of you to just be. That's the relationship on the other side of that night. Not perfect, not easy, but yours. Actually yours. In a way it might not have been before, if you're both brave enough to walk toward it. And it's still heavy, yes. And it's still loud, yes. But you're still here, thinking about it, feeling it, refusing to just let it pass without meaning something. And that's not weakness. That's not you losing yourself. That's you loving something real and being honest enough to let it cost you something. Because the things worth keeping always do. And maybe that's the part that stays with you. Not the argument. Not the words she said in the dark. Not the version of her that scared you or the version of yourself you're not proud of. Maybe what stays with you is this, that you cared enough to stay in it, that you loved something enough to look at it honestly, that when it got hard, you didn't just close your eyes and wait for it to pass. You sat with it, and that matters. It matters more than you know. So breathe. Let it be heavy for a little longer if it needs to be. And then, when you're ready, reach back. Not because everything is resolved, not because you have all the answers, but because she's there, and you're here. And whatever this is between you is still worth finding out. That's enough to start with. That's always been enough to start with.